राघवगुरु विद्यावाप्य विबुधोत्तमतां दधानं कुर्वे सदा हृदि गुरुं करुणाकराख्यं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये माता पिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखरयोगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकालयतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम् श्रीमान् वेङ्कटनाथार्यः कवितार्किककेसरी वेदान्ताचार्यवर्यो मे सन्निधत्तां सदा हृदि. A very quick recap of what we saw in the previous class. We were looking at Artha Panchakam and we saw 3 of the 5 Arthas. We saw about Prapya, Praptru, Prapyupaya. We did not see in complete detail, of course. We saw only the most important, the core things that need to be understood there. Today, we are not going to proceed in that direction. We are going to take a few steps back because there is a very important concept that I believe needs to be discussed. A very important concept. I came to know only today that it is such an important concept. Therefore, I thought it is okay to discuss. So please bear with me for one class. After that, we will continue with Artha Panchaka. But whatever we discuss today is also going to be about Sri Vaishnavism only. It is going to be as per the view of Vishishtadvaitha. This is the concept of Ahankara. When we say Ahankara, the word has 2 components, right? One is Aham, one is Kara. In Advaita, it appears to be quite simple. Why? There is only one entity, Aham Brahmasmi. But the word itself also has another meaning. As a matter of fact, it is usually used in a negative connotation, right? It is used in a bad way. We say, look at that person, such an Ahankari. So let us look at the meaning of the word. Then we need to understand whether Ahankara by itself is wrong or maybe it is right at certain points of time. This we will see from the perspective of Advaita as well as Vishishtadvaita, because it is very important for us to see. Then we will look at whether we should call certain parts of scriptures as implications of Ahankara. We will look at words of Acharyas as well. Specifically, we would also look at the life of Bhagavad Ramanuja and even the life of Swami Vedanta Deshika. Then we would get back to the verse of Nammalvar. Nammalvar composed a Pasuram, Neer Numad, right? That is how it starts. What did we say there in the previous class, or maybe the class before it might have been discussed? We said that Nammalvar hated the concept of Ahankara so much. Ahankara and Mamakara, they are 2 concepts. We explained the difference between the 2. And he hated both of them so much that he did not even want to use the words I and my. Hence, he used the word you and your. We saw that. But let us understand that usage also a little more. And then let us think about the case of respect. Okay. Let us understand one by one. What does the word Ahankara mean? Ahankara is defined. I Googled. Okay. I really Googled. I admit. It defined the word in English as a conception of one's individuality. No, I did not understand this. I wanted to know what the English dictionary says for the word, and I Googled. But it said conception of one's individuality. How do you understand this conception of one's individuality? Hmm? I am an individual conceiving about myself in the mind. That would be called as conception of my own individuality. That is what ahankara means. Okay, but this sounds neutral, right? Does it necessarily sound bad? As an individual, if I do not have a have a conception of myself, people might call me mad. People might call me a person who is not in his senses. Isn't that right? There are people who do not know what is going on in the world. They do all sorts of things, but we call them as mad people. We say that they have lost their senses. They do not know what they are doing. Why? Because they do not have a conception of their own individuality. This kind of a trait is sometimes seen even in saintly beings. But there is a difference between the two. Although the saintly beings are also sometimes called as mad, they behave that way because they are focusing completely on Bhagavan. Should we then say that you should never think about yourself? Or is it okay to think about yourself? Or is it superior? Is there anything superior to it? Let us look at that. Of course, then comes the popular meaning of ahankara. The word means pride. It also means self-conceit. These two terms, pride and self-conceit, they mean pretty much the same thing, right? What do you understand by self-conceit? Self-conceit means undue pride in oneself. That is how it has been defined. Pride is one thing. Having undue pride in oneself is another. What is meant by undue pride in oneself? We will see that as well. We will see it in the story of Embar. Please remind me if I forget to tell you. So, is ahankara itself wrong? First, for that, we need to know what the word ahankara means. If we don't even know the meaning of the word and we start playing around with it, we will get into lots and lots of problems. In Vishishtadvaitha, we discussed a concept called dharmic jnana. What is dharmic jnana? Dharmic jnana is the awareness of the existence of the self. Awareness of the existence of the self. That is what we said. What kind of knowledge is that? We said it is knowledge of existence of the self, which is in a way non-different from the self itself, because the self is a sentient being in our case. So, would there be an ahankara in an absolutely non-living thing, jada? No, obviously. It is possible only in Atman. But we said when discussing in some previous class that dharmic jnana is something that is there in every single Atma. Every Atma has dharmic jnana. Every sentient being, every living being has dharmic jnana. The awareness of existence of the self, it is there in me, it is there in you, it is there in animals, it is there in Paramatma as well. So Bhagavan too has dharmic jnana. Now tell me, is dharmic jnana wrong? No, it cannot be wrong, right? It cannot be wrong. Why? Because as everybody has dharmic jnana, if we are to say that dharmic jnana is wrong, it would imply that everybody is wrong. Okay, so what? Suppose a person comes and asks, so what? So what if everybody is wrong? Didn't Sita herself say in Ramayana? What did Sita say? Sita said, nobody is perfect. Nakaschin na paradhyati. Therefore, everybody is wrong. Therefore, dharmijnana itself is wrong. That would be an absolutely nonsensical thing to say. We should first understand what the meaning of the word ahankara is. That is what we said. Then we said we should understand the meaning of dharmijnana. Now we are saying we should understand the words of Sita as well. Are we moving in any particular direction? Yes, the direction of learning formally. People who do not study formally, they might see or hear things here and there and come to their own conclusions about scriptures as they please. Some people watch YouTube videos only of acharyas and still make misinterpretations. Why? They have dharmic jnana, there is no doubt about that. But there is another type of knowledge called dharma bhuta jnana. We discussed that in detail in a past class. But coming back to dharmic jnana, we said Sita said everybody is wrong. In what sense did Sita say it? Sita told it to Hanuman. Sita meant that us jivas, Baddha jivas, none of us is pure, 100% pure. If we were 100% pure, why are we here? We would have attained moksha. We have not reached the stage of 100% purity. We do have some papa karma with us. Nakashchin na aparadhyati. Everybody is an aparadhi in some way or the other. That is what Sita said. She did not say that everybody is an aparadhi, therefore let us put any random accusation on them. Can we put any random accusation on anybody just because Sita has said everybody is wrong? We cannot, right? That would be stupidity. So, we should not cite Sita Devi here. Yes, Sita said everybody is wrong, but that is a different context. Bhagavan also has dharmic jnana. What about Bhagavan? Should we imply that Bhagavan is also wrong? No. But then somebody might come and argue, oh, he is Bhagavan, you are you, there is a difference. We will look at that. We will answer that as well. Then, the other meaning, the actual meaning that we use when we say ahankara. What is that meaning? Pride. Now this word pride, kindly mute yourself. Now this word pride, we said that it might be wrong, but maybe there are cases where it is not wrong. And we said we would explain it in the story of Embar. That is what we are going to discuss right now before going to the next slide. Because unfortunately for Embar, I did not prepare a separate slide. I forgot. Embar or Govindacharya, as he was called, he was a cousin of Bhagavad Ramanuja before the latter took up sannyasa. After sannyasa was taken up, this Embar eventually became a Shishya of Bhagavad Ramanuja. Now, as a Shishya, he learned a lot of things. One day, people praised him. They said, what a great scholar you are. How knowledgeable you are. What a great expert you are. What great qualities you have. They kept praising him. This is a story I heard from my Acharya when people were conducting a function to felicitate. What did we see? We saw our Acharya explaining the story of Embar. Now, People were praising him for his great qualities. Instead of saying, don't praise me, I am a humble person. Isn't that the teaching of Vaishnavism? What do we say? We say, I'm a humble person. I'm a nobody. I know nothing. There are certain people who say these, but do not really believe in these. There are certain people who say and also believe. But what is really important? It is the belief. Whether or not you say outside, I'm a dasa, I'm a dasa, I'm a dasa everywhere. Scripture does not say go outside and declare everywhere that you're a dasa. But I should have the bhava of a dasa. Now comes the question, how would the bhava of a dasa be? How would the bhava of a dasa be? Alvars have sometimes questioned Bhagavan. How dare you sleep? How dare you not come to save me? Is that ahankara? No, it is just a statement coming out of love and affection. In the case of this particular Acharya, when he was praised excessively, please do correct me if I am wrong. As far as my memory goes, he was Embar only. He accepted the praise given to him. He accepted all the praises given to him. Is that Vaishnava Lakshana? Do you accept praises? Can you have so much ego? People are praising you and you say, thank you, thank you, thank you, instead of saying, oh, why are you praising me? Please don't praise me. I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody. He did not do that. Some people started wondering, why is he behaving this way? Is he such an ahankari? How was our great Bhagavad Ramanuja? He never had any ahankara. He never had any mamakara. But look at him. Whatever praises are coming to him, he is accepting all of them. But these people did not understand the tattva properly. He explained later. Every praise that comes to me is a proof of my Acharya's greatness. Every praise that comes to me is a proof of the greatness of Bhagavad Ramanuja. I am a nobody, but because of my association with Bhagavad Ramanuja, so many praises are coming. So every praise that I receive is an implication of his greatness. It is an implication of his greatness. It is an attestation of his greatness. Can I throw such an attestation away? Should I not accept it and embrace it? Maybe some people of today might not be convinced by this argument, but he had certainly understood the concept completely and perfectly. What is wrong in accepting a praise for yourself if you do not feel that, yes, I am great, yes, I am great, yes, I am great? If you feel that way, you are wrong. But if you feel, yes, they are saying this because of my Acharya, yes, they are saying this because of my Acharya, yes, they are saying this because Bhagavan is so great, he allowed me to do it, therefore the praise is coming. All Bhagavat Kripa. Don't we see elders saying it? When we praise elders, some elders say sometimes Bhagavat Kripa. It is by his grace that we are able to do so much. How are you able to perform so much service to Bhagavan at the temple, even at your old age, in this cold winter? Bhagavat Kripa. They do not say, oh, I'm not able to do anything, I'm incapable of doing. But does it mean that they have ahankara? No. They are saying it is Bhagavat Kripa. So there are three levels. What are these three levels? We should understand the three levels. The first level is where I think I am the Karta. The first level is where I think I am the doer of everything. Now, this level is criticized by even Shri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna criticizes it. Yes, he literally uses the word ahankara in a shloka. What does he say? Ahankara vimudhatma karta aham iti manyate. Ahankara vimudhatma karta aham iti manyate. So the person who thinks I am doing everything, I am only responsible for my greatness, that person is a moodha, an idiot, as per Krishna. But we said there are two other levels, not even one. What is the second level? The second level, which is not really wrong. What sound is this? Just give me a minute. I think it's a fire alarm. Let it be. So the second level is where people say, I am his servant. I am his servant. I am doing it for him. I am doing it for him. The third level is where they say, he is my master. He is making me do it. Is there any difference between saying, I am doing it for him because he is my master, and saying, he is making me to do it? Yes, there is. Both of these are good qualities. But the difference is that one focuses on oneself, whereas the other focuses on Bhagavan. Are we then saying that talking about oneself itself is wrong? When we look at the followers of Vishishtadvaitha school of Ramanuja, when they speak to each other, what do they say? They use terms like Adi and Dasa, Dasoham. Should we say that it is a very wrong thing to talk like? Should we say that it is a wrong practice? Aham is there, right? Dasoham is there, right? Can I say, do you know who I am a dasa of? I am a dasa of Bhagavan. How dare you talk to me this way? No, no, we are not explaining in that way. We are explaining that I am a dasa of Bhagavan. Therefore, whatever praise comes to us should actually go to Bhagavan. And therefore, we will accept all of these. We accept all of these. Whatever we did as per his instructions, as per his command, as per his control. And therefore, as his puppets, whatever we have done, when praise comes for that, we should accept the praise and keep that praise at his holy feet. That is what the great Acharya did when he said, I will accept all of these praises because they display the greatness of my Acharya. So scholars know what is right and what is wrong. If you just think, how could he accept a praise? It would sound very bad, right? If you see that way, nobody should accept any degree. Nobody should accept any position of Acharya. Think about it. When a person accepts the position of an Acharya, is it not Ahankara? I am an Acharya now. When a person accepts the position of a sannyasi, I am a sannyasi now. This is where I will sit. I am an Upanyasaka now. This is where I will sit. I will sit on Vyasapitha. Is that Ahankara to sit only on Vyasapitha? It is not Ahankara. So when is it wrong? When is it not wrong? We should be very careful at understanding and assessing. Let us look at scriptures. Now suppose you are talking to me. You are asking me, why did Krishna speak in this way? I will say Krishna will speak in any way he wants. He is Paramatma. He is always correct. You will be happy. You will think, yes, Krishna is Paramatma. He is always correct. We cannot question him. Okay. But suppose an atheist comes and argues. An atheist comes and says, Krishna was wrong. An atheist could say, right? An atheist could come and say, an atheist who rejects the Bhagavad Gita in specific could come and say, Krishna is very, very wrong. Krishna was an ahankari. He had a lot of pride. He had a lot of self-conceit. It is so clearly visible in the Bhagavad Gita. How would you answer that person? Would you say, Krishna is the Almighty, therefore he can speak? Is that an argument that you would use? He will laugh at you if you use such an argument. He will say, Krishna is the Almighty as per you, not as per me. How are you even debating? Krishna is the Almighty as per the follower of Krishna. As per the rejecter of Krishna, as per this particular rejecter of Krishna, the Purva Pakshi, Krishna is an ahankari. He has problematic qualities. He is not perfect. How would we then defend it? Now the Purva Pakshi starts speaking. Imagine. He says, look at what Krishna has said. Krishna uses the word aham again and 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 again in the Gita. So many times he uses the word aham. So you are saying that Krishna teaches us to leave ahankara when he himself keeps saying aham, 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 aham. What is this? What does he say? Even at the end of Bhagavad Gita, the last chapter, he says something. Sarvadharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam raja. Surrender to me alone. Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. I will free you from all of your sins. Should we take this as a symbol of pride? Of course, we believers know that it is not pride. But how do we understand the reason why it is not pride? Is it simply because it is Krishna that the words are correct? No. Those words would be correct even otherwise. Those words would not imply ahankara even otherwise. We should be smart enough to understand it. How do we understand this? What if I tell you there is a shloka, there is a particular shloka in Bhagavad Gita where in a single shloka, Krishna says aham 8 times. Aham kratu, aham yajnah, svadha aham, aham aushadham, mantraha aham, aham eva ajyam, aham agnihi, aham hutam. This is literally the shloka. Look, he keeps talking about himself. The saying aham, 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 aham. Isn't it exposing his ego that is there inside him? Isn't he so self-obsessed that he keeps saying aham, aham, aham? Is that how we understand it? Adi Shankaracharya, in his Bhashya, has given us one way out. His way is, of course, Paramartha, realizing the oneness, realizing the equality of all, realizing that everything else is illusion, only Brahman alone is there. Then I am everything. It is okay to say I am everything because everything is Brahman. In that sense, we can say. I can also say, I am not this, I am not that, I am not this, I am not that, and at the end I can say, I am Brahman. What would that mean? I am only Brahman, I am not anything other than Brahman. Both routes have been employed by Adi Shankaracharya at different places, of course, to establish the same point. But in Vishishtadvaitha, we do not have that route open, correct? In Vishishtadvaitha, we cannot speak the language of oneness that was spoken by Adi Shankaracharya. If we speak that way, then there would be no difference between Vishishtadvaita and Advaita, of course. So there is obviously a difference. How do we explain it then? We say, look, the aim is to understand the presence of Bhagavan everywhere, the controllership of Bhagavan everywhere, the Sarva Swamitva. He is the Lord of all, right? He is the Niyamaka of all. He is the creator, preserver, and destroyer of all. He is the indweller of all. He is the Shariri of all. He is the Amshi of all. In that sense, we should understand it. Okay, all of that is fine. We will understand it properly. But what about the atheist? The atheist will not stop here. Do you know what he would do? He would say, look, Krishna not only says aham, aham, aham. Krishna says, I am the greatest. What does he say? Bhutanam Ishwaropi San. Despite being the controller of all the bhutas. This is how Krishna talks about himself. Doesn't it sound like pride? Aham sarvasya prabhavaha. That is what Krishna says. Isn't that pride? Bhagavan has special rights, is it? Does Krishna have special rights as the Almighty to speak in this manner? If he's Almighty, he can say whatever he likes, is it? Or is he actually correct even as per the rules of logical reasoning and moral science? Does there exist? Does there exist another explanation? Now, this is extremely important for us. Does there exist another explanation? And we say, yes, there exists another explanation. What is the explanation? Very simple. Telling about his own qualities, if Krishna doesn't say, then who will say? Think about it. How do we know about Bhagavan? Because he revealed about himself. Would you have understood him by Pratyaksha alone? We have seen the types of pramanas before. Would you understand him by Pratyaksha alone? No, you wouldn't. Would you understand him by Anumana alone? No, you wouldn't. Would you understand him through Shabda? Yes. Where does Shabda come from? Him. Certain parts come from sages, do they not? Okay. Where did the sages get that knowledge from? Other sages. Where did those sages get their knowledge from? Ultimately, they also got it from him. So the source of every single scripture and every single statement of scripture that is praising Bhagavan, the source of all of that is Bhagavan himself. Why is he not wrong then in creating so many scriptures of self-praise? How is it fair for him to create so many scriptures of self-praise? The answer is that it is not ego, it is not pride to mention your qualifications for a valid reason. If you think, yeah, I'm so great, that is different. If you think this is my qualification, it is not arrogance, it is not ego. Imagine if you are applying a job at a company and they are asking you for your CV or your resume. What would it contain? It would contain your profile, your educational qualification, your extracurricular qualifications, your achievements. If I were an interviewer and if I say, what have you written? You have written you are qualified in this, qualified in that, you got this degree, you got that medal. What sort of person are you? You are very egoistic. You are very self-centered. You are very arrogant. You have a lot of pride. You are an ahankari. Therefore, I will not give you a job. Would my company function properly if I start recruiting people that way? So just like how mentioning of one's own qualifications in a resume can never be taken to be a symbol of pride, in the same manner, we should understand that Bhagavan talking about his own qualifications is not pride. Is it just about Bhagavan or is it also about other places in scripture? It is not just in the Gita. The Veda also behaves in this manner once in a while. The Veda also behaves in this manner once in a while. It appears to have ahankara, but no, Veda Purusha will never have ahankara. We know that. What about Valmiki? In the very first shloka of Valmiki Ramayana, how many people know the first shloka of Ramayana? Tapasvadhyaya niratam. Ah, very nice. It is talking about Narada, right? What is the word after that? Tapasvi. Who is that Tapasvi? Valmiki. If you ask experts to explain the shloka to you, tapasvadhyaya niratam tapasvi vagvidamvaram naradam paripapracha Valmiki munipungavam. That tapasvadhyaya niratam vagvidamvaram munipungavam. All of those words go to Narada. Which word comes to Valmiki? Tapasvi. Who is writing this shloka? Valmiki. What is this shloka? Literally the first shloka of Valmiki Ramayana. So what is Valmiki doing? Starting the Ramayana by calling himself a tapasvi? Is this how you write? Is this the realization that you got by praying to Rama for so long? Is this the realization that you got by having darshan of Narada? Is this the realization that you got after being so qualified to get the darshan of Brahmadeva, who would give you the boon to understand Ramayana as it happened? Surely, whatever Valmiki said is also not ahankara. This is explained by Govinda Raja in his Bhushana commentary. If you look at it from outside, just take the shloka, take the translation, go to some website, valmikiramayan.net. First shloka, Balakanda, shloka 1. Tapasvadhyaya niratam. Yes. What is the English translation? Valmiki is ahankari. Look, there is proof in Ramayana. Look, this is the translation. Look, this is the Sanskrit word. This is the meaning. If you see the words and the meanings of the words, you would think that Valmiki is an ahankari. But is he an ahankari? No, he is not. How? That is what Govinda Raja explains. Govinda Raja was a great Shri Vaishnavacharya. He made a very elaborate commentary on Valmiki Ramayana. And therefore, he was able to explain all of these parts. He was able to explain so well. He explained that Valmiki is doing this not to praise himself, not because he thinks great about himself, but because if he doesn't list his qualification, people would not believe him. Whatever he is going to say about Ramayana, about the life of Rama, about the life of Sita, the Charita of Sita, and the story of Rama that he is going to say, people would not believe in it. Whatever he says, which is going to be like Ganga, which is going to be the equivalent of the holy Vedas, people would not value it if he does not talk about his own qualifications. And therefore, at the start itself, he talks about his own qualifications. He calls himself Tapasvi. He says he got the darshan of Narada. He says he got the blessings of Brahmadeva. Then he starts narrating the story of Ramayana. So, if you see deeply, this deep looking at it, it will not come through just looking at the words of the scriptures, be it translation or without translation. Even if you know Sanskrit and you look at the words, immediately you would not feel that he is not an ahankari. But our great acharyas have taught us what is ahankara and what is not. And based on that, we should try to understand. The words of Bhagavad Ramanuja has given a number of instructions to his Shishyas. He says, treat all Vaishnavas with respect. That means you should not be an ahankari, correct? What did Bhagavad Ramanuja do? He literally questioned his own acharya. We will look at that in detail in the next slide. Likewise, the words of Swami Deshika. Deshika uses the word aham, aham madrakshana bharaha. Not a big deal, right? He can use the word aham because he says madrakshana bharaha. He says, I am your responsibility to be, it is your, I am yours, therefore I am a part of your responsibility to be protected. There is nothing ahankara there, right? Well, there is another place where Swami Deshika cites the blessing that he got from Vatsya Varadacharya, from Nadadu Ramaya. Pratisthapita Vedantaha, Pratikshipta Bahirmataha, that shloka. He talks about his own qualifications. Deshika, the great Swami Deshika, whose Tanyan I recite every day, whose shloka I recite every day before starting my classes. He has talked about his own qualifications. Should I now believe that he is an Ahankari? No, definitely not. One place we said that the meaning of the statement, if you look at it properly, you would understand that even though it says aham, it says a meaning that implies the lack of ahankara, correct? If you say I am nothing, there is an I in I am nothing. But the statement I am nothing itself would be the opposite of ahankara. That is one way. But in the other case, where he has literally listed his qualifications, how are we to understand? He says, I have been blessed by these people, therefore, whatever I say is a blessing of these people. That is the real bhava that he has. Various acharyas at various points of time, they did not just speak and go away. They spoke to a lot of people. They questioned a lot of people. I do believe that the people who are attending this class are aware of how many different faiths were there in India during the time of Adi Shankaracharya. Adi Shankaracharya debated with several dozens of schools. Why should he do it? Why should he question their knowledge? Why should he question their bhakti? Who is he to do it? Centuries after Adi Shankaracharya. Now, if I ask this way, people will say, oh, you're a Vaishnava, this is how you'll question him. But centuries after Adi Shankaracharya, Bhagavad Ramanuja also did the same thing. A few centuries after that, Madhvacharya also did the same thing. Why did they all do the same thing? Because millennia before them, Vedavyasa also had done the same thing. Vedavyasa had done it. Who was Vedavyasa? Krishnadvaipayanam Vyasam Vidhi Narayanam Prabhum. He is Sakshat Sriman Narayana. And therefore, Bhagavan himself has done it. Now back to the question of the atheist. Okay, so the root of all ahankara is Bhagavan. The root of all pride is Bhagavan. No. You should understand what counts as pride and what does not count as pride. Otherwise, the entirety of the scriptures would be in peril. Varaha, in Varaha Purana, he would say, Aham smarami madbhaktam nayami paramam gatim. Oh, look, he is talking about himself. One side will say, therefore he is an ahankari. Another side will say, he can say it because he is Bhagavan. What do you really mean when you say he can say it because he is Bhagavan? It is to be understood. He is Bhagavan, therefore he would be morally correct. Therefore, if he says it, it will not be wrong. We are only understanding it incorrectly. This is the actual way to process it step by step. He is Bhagavan, therefore he will be a morally good person, and therefore his words will be morally correct. Therefore, his words will not contain ahankara. Therefore, we should interpret it in a way that does not imply ahankara within him. This is how the explanation should go. If we do not know this procedure, it means we do not know the concept of ahankara. In the life of Bhagavad Ramanuja, he questioned non-Vedic people, various non-Vedic people, the Charvakas, the four Bauddhas, the Jainas. Till today, the Jainas have a grudge against him. Many of them. They say, he came and questioned us. We were peacefully living in Karnataka. Bhagavad Ramanuja came. There was a Jain king called Bitti Deva. Bhagavad Ramanuja came and he played a missionary game on him and converted him into the Vedic faith. This is an accusation that exists on Bhagavad Ramanuja even today. despite being a very wrong one, despite being a very, very incorrect and biased and all of that, it still exists today. Bhagavad Ramanuja did not care about his image. He only cared about what is right and what is wrong. So when the king invited him, saying, my child has been behaving very weirdly like a mad person and nobody is able to cure my child, would you be able to do it? Bhagavad Ramanuja said, okay, I will try. By the grace of God, if Bhagavan is willing, let it be, let it happen. And by the grace of Bhagavan, it happened. The miracle happened. And the king converted to the Vedic faith. This is the real story. Now, if Bhagavad Ramanuja had thought, I should not question anybody, I should not interfere in the matters of a Jaina, he wouldn't have debated with all of those people. 1000 Jainas were there debating at the same time. Thousands more were waiting behind them. To all of them, Bhagavad Ramanuja took his real form of Adisesha and gave the answer. One head of the snake gave one answer. 1000 heads together spoke, giving 1000 answers. As a response, when 1000 people asked questions at the same time, instead of asking even one by one, which is the actual procedure, when 1000 people asked at once, 1000 heads gave answers at once to stun them. That is the Siddhanta. That is what we believe in. He questioned pseudo-Vedic people, people who claimed to follow the Vedas, but did not follow Vedas really. They said, oh, Veda is also saying whatever we say, that's all. Certain people were there. The atheist Sankhyas, for example. So, he questioned the pseudo-Vedic people. He questioned his own Guru Yadava Prakasha when the latter misinterpreted the Upanishad. He questioned the misinterpreters of Vedas and clarified that this is the real teaching of the Veda. That is the real teaching of the Veda. This is wrong for so many reasons. That is wrong for so many reasons. People who have really studied Sri Bhashya will know how big it is, how much he has analyzed. This is correct, this is not correct, this is not correct, because if this is correct, this would happen, if this would happen, that would happen, if that would happen, that would imply this thing, and if this thing is implied, then it would contradict somewhere else. So much analysis has been done, not just by Bhagavad Ramanuja. This is the nature of Vedic acharyas themselves. Bhagavad Ramanuja questioned the practices of Shri Vaishnavas as well. When they behaved incorrectly or when they did not follow agamas properly, he questioned that also and he taught them how to behave. A large number of people came and started following him. They said, whatever you say, we have faith, we will follow. Because you are saying out of good intentions. Some other people thought, who is this egoistic fellow? He comes and thinks that he can comment about what we are doing. What did these people do? The priests added poison to the food of Bhagavad Ramanuja. Of course, nothing happened to him. That's a different story. But the fact remains that the people who called him evil were the ones who were actually evil. So just because a person is a Sri Vaishnava, somebody has got a Diksha, does it mean that the person is correct? Of course not. Gunajala prakarshepi dhivaratvepi janmataha sarvatirthavagahepi nicha vrittir na shasyate, said Swami Deshika. And that is the teaching that we should take. What happened in the life of Swami Vedanta Deshika? His entire life he kept questioning people. He kept questioning wrong things. He kept writing. And he was insulted for most of his life, not just by the people of other faiths, but the people of his own faith. The same Sri Vaishnavas who were living right next to him, they were also insulting him all the time. Other people might have been wondering what sort of people are these Hindus. They keep fighting with each other. They keep arguing with each other. Look at this Deshika. He is commenting on Hindus themselves. What a horrible person. Shouldn't we maintain Hindu unity? No, it is not like that. When you say Hindu, it means Hinam Dushayati iti Hindu. When you say Sanatana Dharma, there is Dharma in Sanatana Dharma. You can't say anything and everything and then call it Sanatana Dharma. Just because Bhishma, Drona, and Kripa are your elders, just because Duryodhana is your cousin, can you let them be when they are on the wrong side? Krishna said, you should not let them be when they are on the wrong side. When they are on the wrong side, you should fight them. Even if you are weak, Anaranya, the ancestor of Rama, he fought against Ravana. Anaranya was not able to defeat Ravana, but he still fought. Therefore, he is celebrated even today. In the same way, Swami Deshika is also celebrated even today. Back during his own lifetime, people insulted him. But every insult he turned into a blessing. Why? Because they thought he is a very different person. They thought he does not like to blend with the crowd. Let us cancel him. But Bhagavan did not cancel him. What is the teaching then? As long as you stick to Dharma, as long as you stick to Bhagavan, you do not have to worry about what the world says. The world can call you a criminal, it can call you a murderer, it can call you anything it likes. Don't worry about that. The world called the Alvar as a thief when he did not steal the property of Bhagavan from the temple. Yet, Bhagavan came and saved the Alvar. So, what the world says is not really important. But if we by ourselves have a lot of pride in ourselves, if we think, oh, I am so great, I am so this, I am so that, we can tell our qualifications. That is not wrong. It is like sharing a CV. It is not really wrong. But if we think, oh, I am so great because I have studied this, I am so great because I have studied that, that is when we would fall down. So, what Nammalvar really meant in that verse, when he did not even write the word aham and mama, he did not write yam emade, he wrote neer numade. What does it mean? Does it mean that the word I itself is wrong? No, it is not wrong. Even Krishna has used it. Krishna is Jagadacharya. He is Jagat Guru, right? We say Krishnam Mande Jagat Guru. Likewise, all of these acharyas, oh, they can do it. They are acharyas. How can you do it? No, no. Acharate iti acharya. Acharyas are those who follow Sanatana Dharma. As Shishyas, we follow those acharyas. Therefore, we also follow Sanatana Dharma. If I say, I should not behave like Rama because Rama was supreme, it means that I do not like Rama. If I say nobody should behave like Rama because Rama was a totally different person. He was Sakshat Bhagavan. If people say that Rama was perfect, nobody should compare themselves with him and then say, oh, I should behave like Rama. Then such a person would be the biggest fraud on earth. Such a person would actually be a Ravana Bhakta and not a Rama Bhakta. Rama Bhaktas will imitate the qualities of Rama. So many qualities of Rama celebrated in Balakanda, Ayodhya Kanda, Sundara Kanda, Kishkinda Kanda, Yuddha Kanda. Where is his quality not celebrated? All the qualities of Rama, why are they celebrated? Why did he take the avatar of a human to come down here? Or why did Krishna narrate the Bhagavad Gita? Was it for himself? No. He is Avapta Samasta Kama. He is void of any desire. Anything and everything that he wants would have already been achieved by him at time t equals 0. There was no point of time when he wanted something and was still waiting for it. All such stories of him waiting are just leelas, him playing and pretending, that's all. So what Namalva really meant was, don't have pride of being so great. Don't have ego. At the same time, don't worry about your image. Don't think, oh, what will people think of me? What will people think of me? You do what you want to do. Nammalvar behaved like a woman in his verses. Many Alvars behaved like madmen, like saints who discarded anything and everything. We have seen the story of one Alvar who did not care about the king, right? The king got angry. We saw the story. But they did not care about it. If they are to think, oh, what will the king think about me? What will the country think about me? What will the people think about me? Then they are not behind dharma. They are behind people. And people are mixed up. So, if you are behind dharma, dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. If you are behind people, then Ishwaro rakshatu. That is all. So, you are nothing. Bhagavan is everything. That is the teaching of Nammalvar. The last thing for today's class is about false respect. Now we said that Bhagavad Ramanuja gave instructions to his disciples that every Vaishnava should be respected. We see similar teachings in all schools of Vaishnavism, right? The Madhvas have their own school of philosophy called Dvaita. The Gaudiyas have their own school of philosophy, Achintya Bheda Bheda. Likewise, the followers of Nimbarka have their own school of philosophy, Dvaita Advaita. The followers of Vishnu Swami have their own school of philosophy, Shuddha Advaita. All of them say the same thing. If he is a Vaishnava, you should respect him. But what makes a Vaishnava a Vaishnava? Can a person be respected just because of birth? Deshika said, no. Dhivaratvepi janmataha. Nicha vrattirna shasyate. Can a person be respected simply because he got Vaishnava Diksha? No, not necessary. Can a person be respected if he is literally Vishnu Putra? Well, there was a Vishnu Putra called Narakasura, and we all know what happened to him. Can a person be respected just because of intelligence? See, all of these qualities, it is okay to respect them, but only as long as they are within limits. If a person says, I have got Vaishnava Diksha, therefore I can blabber anything about Vaishnavism. I can do any kind of crime. I have taken Sharanagati, Bhagavan will give me moksha, therefore let me become a thief. Is it fair? Of course it is unfair. It is not fair. It is not going to be pardoned. Who said it would be pardoned? So, is there any qualification that demands us to be silent when something wrong is committed? We can very well speak up. When we see something wrong, we should speak up. These days, slowly, Sanatanis have started speaking. In the past, whenever people spoke, they were shut down. Oh, what an ahankari you are. Today, people have slowly started speaking up, and it is a good thing. Because if you don't point out mistakes, people will never know that they have mistakes. If you tell me, I will know that I have a mistake. If you never tell me, will I ever know? If I, as much as I can see about myself, I'm a very great person. Performance review. Please rate yourself. In a company, they would give a form. How was your knowledge? How were your skills? What was your contribution to the company? Rate yourself for all of these. 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%, over and above, 200%, 200%. We can rate ourselves that. We might think we are very great. But then there would come a point when we would be given feedback by others. At that time, we would really know what good we did and what bad we did. In our lives, that happens when we go to the afterlife, right? Before we get Swarga or Naraka. But should we really wait until then? Shouldn't we try right now? Yes, we should look into ourselves and see where we are wrong. And beyond that, we should also take feedback from others. And if people say we are wrong, we should think about it. Why is he saying this? Is he saying it because of his own thing? When Vibhishana told Ravana that Ravana is wrong, Ravana accused it on Vibhishana himself. He said, you are speaking this way because you are this, you are that, you covet my throne. He did not bother to think about the actual teachings of Vibhishana. What Vibhishana is really trying to say, he missed the content and started attacking the speaker. It is a logical fallacy. We should avoid that. Now comes the story of Kurattalvan. Kurattalvan got blind. Everybody knows the story. We'll of course come to the story when we reach the story of Bhagavad Ramanuja. Kurattalvan was blinded by an evil king. He said, once upon a time, there was a Shri Vaishnava who did not wear his pundra properly. His Shri Vaishnava pundra, the Urdhva pundra on the forehead, what we call as Tiruman, or more popularly as Namam in Tamil, it was not proper. I had commented on that. Maybe that Vaishnava apachara is what has made me blind. That Bhagavata apachara has made me blind. Now a question would arise. If this counts as Bhagavata apachara, to call a mistake as a mistake, then will there be any Bhagavata at all? People will make mistakes. People will naturally make mistakes. Sita has said so. And if nobody questions them, one guru makes a mistake, other gurus should not question. One shishya makes a mistake, other shishyas should not question. Guru should not question. Nobody should question anybody. Then what would happen? All misinterpretations would grow. All malpractices would grow. Is that what Kurattalvan was really intending to promote? Of course not. What he meant was that What kind of guy is he? Hmm? What kind of a fool is he? He doesn't even know how to have a pundra properly. In this manner, Kuratarvan had thought, and he regretted it. That does not mean that anybody can have the pundra in any way they like. Like if you see on in TV serials, they will show. I saw recently. I don't usually watch TV serials, but I saw some photos online. Apparently, on Shakuni's forehead, they draw the entire Ludo board as a mark on his forehead. On Arjuna's forehead, they draw bow and arrow. Where did these symbols come from? What are these types of tilakas or whatever they are being used on the forehead? We have never ever seen or heard about such kinds. But if people start thinking they can just decorate their forehead in any way they like, would that be following of Sanatana Dharma? No. So at some point we have to question. We have to question, right? Bhagavad Ramanuja himself questioned. So that is the teaching for today's class. The point is, yes, we should not feel proud. Oh, I have it so perfectly. I have the pundra so perfectly. He has it so horribly. That should not be there. But if you say, not have the pundra that way, it is wrong. Look at my forehead, for example. This is the procedure that you should follow. Then it is not wrong. So it does not mean that we should always give respect to everybody and let anybody and everybody do whatever nonsense they like. At the same time, it does not mean that we should criticize anything and everything. If we see a real mistake, we should criticize. That is the uh, teaching of today's class. If there is any question, please feel free to let me know.
Thank you. It was very good. No questions.
So if there's no question, we'll conclude the class here. श्रीवत्सं शकुंशोदन्ति कुस्तुभस्य शिवास गुरुस्तमन्तं विद्यावापे बृहत्तमतां दानं वेस्दाहृदिगुं करुणाकरध्यम् लक्ष्मीनाथाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परा श्रीमते निगमान्त महादेशिकाय अस्मत् सर्वगुरुभ्यो नमः। Thank you.